0898 888 000. Wow, the party's buzzing.
Join us live on
0898 888 000.
Now over to ITN and Tim Neilson for the headlines.
The IRA said last night they would continue to target civilians who worked for the security forces. They call them Crown collaborators. The Prime Minister will today be pressed to introduce selective internment when he meets Unionist MPs in Downing Street. In Cookstown, large congregations attended Protestant and Roman Catholic churches to remember the 7 who died. 6 will be buried today, the 7th, John McConnell, on Tuesday. Later, friends and relatives of the dead building workers laid floral tributes at the scene of the bombing. Meanwhile, the Ulster Secretary, Peter Brooke, who makes a statement in the House today on the killings, will come under fire for singing on an Irish television show in Dublin hours after the bombing. The Prime Minister has promised he won't generate an artificial boom to win the next general election. In a television interview, Mr Major said that would be absolute folly. He added, if the feel-good factor isn't there, so be it. Labour said it was a terrible indictment of the government's handling of the economy. Abroad, and Georgia's ruling military council has given former President Gamsahurdia 3 days to leave the country. One leader said he's now finished as a political force. In the capital Tbilisi yesterday, warning shots were fired at a pro-Gamsahurdia rally, but the troops were unable to disperse the crowd which demanded the president's return. That's it. You'll have more news later.
And it's now night-time time for our film. Oliver Reed stars as a lonely trapper who buys a wife to keep him company in The Trap. next week's movie night film is a thriller, The Curse of the Fly. That's next Sunday night time at 2:25. In a few moments, Debbie Greenwood presents a selection of regional features in Pick of the Week. And now, night time, we scour the ITV regions for fascinating features and interesting interviews to make up our Pick of the Week, presented by Debbie Greenwood.
Watch it!
Wonderful.
For a minute there, I thought I was going to miss.
I love to watch you play with these trains. It brings out the real you.
And that's what we call getting things off to an explosive start. Hello there and welcome to another Pick of the Week. I'm Debbie Greenwood and that was a taste of what's to come in tonight's video competition. As well as some vintage stuff from the Addams Family, we've also the Kevin Costner blockbuster, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Well, I bet you're glad you stayed up now, aren't you? Let's start, though, with a group of merry men about as far removed from the swash and buckle of Robin Hood as you can possibly get. Every week, they meet to sample the delights of a traditional delicacy. It's an exclusive gathering that doesn't take kindly to strangers, but somehow Chris Kiddie of Yorkshire Television managed to bluff his way into the hallowed circle.
It's Saturday evening in Ripponden, and down at the Bridge Inn, the talk is not of football, but of...
Nice pie, slightly dry.
Crunchy, tasty, didn't need no sauce.
Come on, let's get close. Well, wait a minute, yeah.
Every week for the past 7 years, a group of grown men has met to sample pork pies. The Pie Appreciation Society grew out of all things the lads meeting at a local health club.
We all met in the gym, and after the gym we came and had a couple of fights in here, and there wasn't any food served. One of the lads' wives used to pack him a small little picnic, as it were, and invariably there's a pork pie in this.
This is a mean old growler.
The pies brought by the week's fetcher are tasted blind, then marked.
You were doing that last Tuesday?
It was an ugly pie. In spite of what Dave Clark says, that thing had a poor appearance.
I think we ought to have a whip round for the butcher so we could keep it in the oven another 20 minutes.
People might think you're a bit daft.
Well, they could well be entitled to think that, but there's lots of other activities that could be equally defined as being stupid, but it's absolutely harmless. It doesn't cause any offence, apart from the fact that we do exclude women until the major event's over. And we have been accused of being sexist, well, so be it.
So, what do the pork pie widows make of it all?
I think they're just typical Yorkshire men, aren't they?
And they're what?
Typical.
Chauvinists, aren't they?
It's a real mean-looking pie, is that, isn't it? I mean, a hombre of a pie.
Real man's pie.
A real man's pie, as you say that.
I don't think there's many women knocking on the door wanting to come in. Mind you, it's a good job, because if they did, they wouldn't let them in.
And it's not easy to get into the society. You have to serve an apprenticeship before you get your name in gold on the treasured pie box. The week's world event is recorded in the minute book together with the state of the pie. The lads asked me not to make them look too daft on TV. They also want butchers with fine pies to get in touch. Well, keeping one promise out of two isn't bad.
So now we know what a real man's pie looks like.